Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to Lifter LMS. We're here with the Ask Me Anything call. I say me because us isn't here yet. Here she comes. Here she comes. Here comes Emily. All right, I'm just getting a little bit crazy. Let's jump into things. Hi, Emily. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
First things first, I see some comments already, but for people new, if you have any questions or you just want to check in with us, like, hey, I'm Bob, I'm from North Dakota, put that into the comments. We'd love to have you there. If you have not yet tried Lifter LMS, try it. LifterLMS.com/try. LifterLMS.com/try. We would love to have you. Nextly, let's say that you've watched us a few times, you've had your questions answered, and you're like, man, I think I want to try. I don't want the free version. I want to buy something. Let's say that you want to buy something from Lifter LMS. Right here, lifterlms.com/AMA-gift, lifterlms.com/AMA-gift. That gets you 55% off. And you know what? If you, pardon me, if you ask us questions and we try to guide you and you say, man, I got a business idea and I really want to move forward. I don't want to be a web expert. I just want to run my business. Because I hire lifterlms.com/experts, lifterlms.com/experts. And I think that rounds up all the banners I got to put up on the screen for today. I'll see y'all later. Have a nice day. Emily, how the heck are you?
I'm good. I'm trying to get my camera set up by building a makeshift tripod here. But I'm well rested. I got the Wi-Fi password. I'm vibing. I got my lotion, got my Beekman lotion. It's going to be a good day.
Having your lotion handy does make for a good day.
But how are you? How are you doing?
I just got done interviewing Matt Mullenweg.
Oh, tell us about that.
So it's always interesting, and I feel like, I don't know why I feel like this, but I feel like this. I feel like I need to say this out loud, like publicly. I've had the opportunity now to speak to and interview him a couple of times, and you know, you see some negative comments about the man, right? Like you just see like, oh, he's evil, he's this, he's that. And every time that I've interacted with Matt, I got to tell you, Emily, he's an absolute gentleman. He's well-spoken. He's patient. He gives full answers. He's on camera, off camera, like even off camera. He's always been like super gracious, super kind, super patient. I mean, in the WordPress sphere, you know, I'm just a little speck, you know, and he's always like, I enjoy him. I really do. And I know that some other people have some different opinions, but it's like, I don't know, maybe he's like a raccoon, you know. Raccoons are cute and fuzzy, and you can see them out in the yard and stuff. And then when you try to corner them next to your shed, they rear up and scratch your eyes out. So maybe that's it. Maybe people have just cornered him into a corner of a shed too often. I don't know. We talked to him today about artificial intelligence.
Ooh.
You know, and how they're adding things to WordPress.com and, you know, kind of the headless thing that people are building with like Replit and Lovable and just some different things. It was a really interesting conversation.
Nice. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, right, because he built WordPress in 2003, and now he's like an actual billionaire. And it's cool that, I mean, it's nice that he's still talking to people in the community and doing stuff. Like,
he doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to do that.
Yeah, that's the thing that I always say. Like, I watched the documentary on Apple, right, on Steve Jobs, and you see how he, like, first off, I'm not a Steve Jobs fan, so don't go thinking that I drink too much Kool-Aid. Not a Steve. because I watch these guys in tech, Bill Gates and him, they like basically stole a lot of crap on the way up the ladder. You know what I mean? Like uh, uh, technical intelligence was one of those things. They were just kind of like, oh, hey, that's a good idea. I think I'll steal that. And then once they stole it and made it big enough, they would lobby people for other people to steal and use it. You know what I mean? So I feel that there was a lot of unfair play in how the tech industry was initially established. And that's why I like open source so much. But anyway, think about, here you are, you start Apple and you're Steve Jobs and you're building this giant thing. And all of a sudden the board's like, we think you're crazy. We're going to fire you. And it's like being fired from your own thing would be like insanity. Right. And I see Matt Mullenweg's position almost similarly. Like, hey, me and a buddy made this thing. Now it's 43% of the internet, and now there's all these groups of people that want to come along and tell me how I run it like shit and I should change the way I do things, or they're going to push me out, like I'm a billionaire. You're not pushing me out of anything. And I think he's been pretty resolute in his stance, which I do see. I have a very innate ability to put myself in other people's shoes. I have a high empathy. But unfortunately, a lot of people would accuse me of having high empathy for people that don't deserve the empathy, I think. I just see things from that. Yeah, if I was the guy at the top of that ladder, I don't know how much patience I would have for other people like that.
Yeah. And I mean, the fact that WordPress is like 43% of the internet means that there's going to be a lot of criticisms, and it's the process of democratization, right? Because like before WordPress, if you wanted to build a website that was fully customizable, you would have to really understand like PHP inside and out, or just code everything. And so I think that not only is it a platform for building websites, but it's a platform for like learning web development. And I feel like without WordPress, there wouldn't have been the volume of websites that we see today. Like not every single business would have a website, every single like concept. I don't know. It's cool. It's really changed how we approach our phones and the web and computers and everything. The fact that more people can put their message out.
I agree with you on like so much of that, right? Because when I think about the scale of work, like people go, 40% of the internet, that's not a big deal. Like, well, okay, well then who comes close? Who even comes close to that? WooCommerce does something like 23% of the e-commerce. No one even comes, like Shopify's got all these commercials, but they're nowhere close to that kind of market penetration. And so it's like, sometimes we have to take a step back and realize what we actually have access to. I recently installed Drupal, instantly uninstalled Drupal. I was like, I'm not going down that road again. And then I tried School. And as you know, I'm running a course on School and I'm giving people free access to it. And I like trying it. But I only have two choices, light mode or dark mode. There's nothing else I can do on that website. Nothing else. Like, yeah, I can change. Let's see. I think I'm done. I can change my, my cover picture and my profile picture, and then I can pick dark mode, like if I want. That's it. And so when people come to WordPress and they're like kind of poo-pooing on a couple of things, it's like, whoa, hold on. That perceived difficulty that you're bringing to the table, that perceived weakness that you see because it requires a higher learning curve to do something, is giving you something that none of these other platforms are doing for you. So there's always like a give and take, and I really like that in WordPress, I can build and design and implement whatever I need over time.
Yeah.
All right, let's hit the people. Dell says, good morning. Dell, good morning to you. It's great to have you here. Gary, sidekick, right with them. There we go. Good morning from East St. Paul. I have no idea if I'm allergic to your lotion, Emily, or what, but I feel like I got to sneeze again. It's really in my nose.
I did put on a lot of scents.
It didn't happen until you started putting on the lotion. My eyes are watering and everything.
Yep.
Oh. Gary says, Astra starter templates. How can I undo them? Ooh. Gary, that's a big question. Let's say hi to Will first. Will, welcome to the call. Will is from the UK. He's from the other side of the world. Oddly enough, I think you both are under the same king, which is awesome. Okay. Let's see. Astra starter sites. How can I undo them? Oh, I must have been excited for the Matt interview because I'm kind of jazzed up and rather sarcastic this morning. I'm a little snarky. I apologize. You can't undo a starter site. I mean, you can start over. That's like the worst answer, I think, for somebody. And I've done this before. So I'm a big fan of Astra. I'm a big fan of Cadence, and these starter sites are great to get you launched. Like, it's a great, first draft concept. You go, okay, well, here's the yoga template. I'm going to use that. Or here's the coffee shop template. I'm going to use that. And then you put in that starter template website, and it brings over the images, the headlines, and the text, and it puts it in that format that you can overlay your information over. And then, of course, let's say that the template has 2 paragraphs in a space, and then, your content's going to be 4 paragraphs. Well, it's just going to make the box taller, so it'll affect the format when you start changing your content within the blocks and rows that are assigned to that template. And what happens is people go, this doesn't look like the way I thought it was going to look. And then they want to unwind it. There's no easy way to unwind a template like that. If you use the AI tool, so if you're in Astra, it's going to be ZipWP. And if you're in Cadence, it's going to be Cadence's AI tool. And if you're in, WordPress.com, they have an AI tool now too, as an AI site builder. That AI site builder would allow you to use your content, not your content. It would use like your subject matter content. You would put in starter information about your project, and then you would pick or upload the pictures you want to use. You would pick the colors that you want, the fonts you want, the format that you want, and then you would click build my site, and it would build that. That technically still puts you in the starter template area. Like, there's really no way to suck that out. Like there's no way to say, I want to keep all my content. I just want all the formatting to go away. Right. Unless Emily tells me I'm wrong. Am I wrong?
Not really, because what starter sites fundamentally do is it's a plugin that imports some pages from their third-party library. And so they've developed these like block pages, Elementor pages, or whatever you've imported. And so you've imported a bunch of pages to your website, but you can delete the plugin. You can delete Astra starter sites or Cadence, whatever it is, once you import your content. But then if you want to like revert it back to the way it was, you're just going to have to delete those pages and start over, or edit the pages that you have. It's a bunch of theme settings and a bunch of pages that get imported. You can change your theme settings and leave the pages that have been imported, but I don't know what you're wanting specifically to reverse about that process.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could get a little more out of the box, Emily, and answer the question, I guess, more fully, right? So let's say that I use the starter template and I build out the site and it's built, right? And so then it's all formatted, it's built, as everything. And then I go, okay, I want to try SkyPilot. Well, I could activate SkyPilot and it'll keep, most of the pictures, most of the headlines, most of the content. But when you go to look at the website, it's not going to look well formatted. Things are going to be mixed and moved and chased around a little bit. And so then you would have to go through and touch up the site, right? If that makes sense. Gary's got a comment in the bottom here that says, my menus and footers vanished. If you went from Astra to SkyPilot, like if you went from a regular theme to a full site editing theme, that can happen, but they have a different area in full site editing for footers and headers and those templated spaces. So did you go from, are you trying to leave Astra and go to a full site editing theme, Gary? I know you're with us live, so if that's what you're doing, that would help us a little bit. Oh, I don't know what it is. Something's got me, Emily. Something's got me. The wind blew outside. It's not like I have the windows open. I don't know what is. Oh, all right. While Gary is getting back to us, Will has some questions as well. Again, Will from the UK. Hello. Looking into Lifter LMS to fit our requirements, looking for an LMS to add value to our in-person classroom courses. In my frame, I call that blended learning, Will, blended learning. Lifter LMS works great for blended learning. Seen many solutions that work with remote live courses, but not so much in-person classes. Like to see how Lifter LMS caters for this. Well, pardon me. In my experience, if I'm talking to teachers and they're doing classroom study, and they want an LMS, so you got it. So track me here, because I'm putting a lot of caveats in, right? They're leading a live class. They want to use an LMS. So it's more than a roster. It's more than a list of names and students that sit in desks. You're not taking roll, right? You're actually using the LMS for content to display to a live class. In those situations, it's typically going to be like a smart board arrangement, or everybody's got an iPad or something like that, right? There's some kind of display mechanism in the classroom. And if that's the case, Lifter LMS works great for that, because you sign in as the teacher, you pull up the course, you slap it up on the wall, and then on the screen, the wall, the whatever. And then you can go through the content. You can go through the curriculum, through the courses. And maybe you have like an assignment block. So then you put in the assignment, and for the assignment, the whole class gets up and goes to the lab and, builds a bridge out of popsicle sticks or something, right? And so they go and do the lab, and then you come back and you say, okay, let's hit, lessons 3 through 6. The next day you're like, oh, here comes a knowledge check, right? So everyone needs to take this quiz. Well, if it's a classroom that is, using the iPad setup, the Chromebook setup, the whatever, each student is going to be able to sign in to that blended learning example, and they're going to be able to take the knowledge check, and you're going to be able to track their grades, their scores, their progress, and all that stuff automated and electronically through their Lifter LMS reporting. So this gets used quite a bit. Now we're going to walk my story back a little bit. If you're not using like the courses, lessons, assignments, and knowledge checks, and you're kind of like using it to take roll, I don't think it's the best solution in that context. I've seen people use like the membership, because we have membership and courses with Lifter LMS. So I've seen people use memberships for the course, not for the course, memberships for the class. And so people assigned to a certain class enroll in a membership, and that forms kind of that roster for who's got access to be in this class. And if all you're doing is like a roster with attendance, that can bare minimally work that out for you, but I don't think it's the best. I got no idea what's happening to me. I'm dying over here, Will. Sorry, Emily. All of a sudden, my brain, it snapped. My brain snapped. I think I sneezed something loose. I might have to disappear and go blow my nose or something. Something is in here. I am falling apart. So I'm glad this didn't happen when I was interviewing Matt Mullenweg. Like trying to ask him a question and tearing up and tears running down my cheek and sneezing and snotting all over the place. I don't know what's going on.
Just so happy to talk to him.
Just so happy to talk to him. I'm coming apart. So here, perfect. We've got an example. As an example, we're getting booked to attend a 5-day classroom course. We want them to receive learning before the course. Perfect. So for pre-learning, Lifter LMS is awesome. With pre-learning, you can track their progress. You can give them knowledge checks. You can give them assignments. All of that gets tracked in the platform by user with reporting. Perfect. During the course, we would give them revision and mocks, let them say after each day. Okay, like, so if you're going to give them like white papers or access to PDFs or whatever, you can make those resources that are downloadable in the course even. That's perfect. They can also get access to mock exams if they want. Perfect. We have LifterLMS quizzes and advanced quizzes for that. And the feedback we are getting is that they want something to complement the in-person. Perfect. This is exactly what I do, Will. For a touch point, for an idea of how I would consider blended learning. I used to be the North American training manager for Ducati North America, the motorcycle company. And so what I did was I took all of the theory about rebuilding a Panigale engine, and I put all of that theory into a pre-course, into an online pre-course. And then technicians would sign up to come to the practicum. The practicum is the in-person workshop example of actually working on a Panigale engine, right? So they had to do the pre-work before they could qualify to come to the class. And then when they came to the class, I was a little dirty. I'll be honest with you. I was a little dirty. I waited for them to get all the way to the class and I tested them. And then once I tested them, I decided if they could stay or if they had to go home. So let's say that they tested, they passed, they could stay. Well, then what I would do is the last section of their course was like the workshop hands-on portion. I had to grade that. And so each student would just check it off as done. Like they're in class, so they check it off as done. And then me, as the instructor, I would get a notification when someone checked off they were done with the workshop. I would sign in and assign it a grade, right? So it's 100, it's a 90, it's an 80, it's a whatever. The system would compile all that. It would say, here's your score from the pre-work, here's your score from the test, here's your score from the workshop activity. You pass with an end result of 86 or whatever like that. So in that blended learning example, I couldn't think of a better platform to run that than LifterLMS and WordPress. And here's why. When I started setting things up, just when I started taking things to a blended example online, we were able to reduce dealership travel requirements by like 60%. We were able to reduce the corporate expense by 50% on training, but we trained twice as many technicians the same year that I launched the program. So when you think about it, overall, when you cut the expense by half and then you double the output, I mean, we literally took like 75% of the training cost per technician out of the budget and gave them a better product in the end. It was just an amazing outcome. It was so amazing that I look back on it with incredible fondness at this point in my life. I wish, to be honest with you, I wish I could do like 6 more projects like that, because the win was so big. And it's been a while since I had a really cool project like that to work on.
Yeah.
Will says, thank you, by the way. Perfect. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Gary says, nope, just wanted to try it. All that discussion to remove the starter template, and the answer is nope, just wanted to try it. Hang on a second. Hi, Hayden.
If you're looking to just try the starter websites, it might be a good idea to put it on a staging environment. So that if you don't like it, you can just throw it away.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right.
I endorse the staging websites. I think everyone should use them.
I am more attached to, if you're, gosh, I hate to make it sound like everything's got to be agency focused all the time. As an agency, I have hosting and I can have like as many URLs as I want. And unfortunately, I got way too many URLs. And so I make just sample websites all the time. So I have a sample website, for example, that's using Creator LMS right now. I have a sample website that's got LearnDash on it. I got a sample website that's got LifterLMS on it. I've got a sample website that's got all the Fluent stuff, with like Fluent Cart, Fluent CRM, Fluent, all that stuff. I've got one that is a WooCommerce food truck site. And I make all these kind of like sample sites because they're like playgrounds for me. Like it's not just showing customers what we can do as an agency, but they're like playgrounds for me. I can go in there at any point in time because they're not like publicly like it's not like I'm putting SEO in there and buying ads for these sites. I just go and play with them. Like, oh, if I wonder if I turn this plugin on and that plugin off, and what happens here, what happens there. I think okay. I'm really glad we don't play these live, Emily. So, I mean, we play them live, but it's not like Zoom. Like we used to do it on Zoom. We just had a comment come in that's funny but inappropriate. And Gary says stream acting up. So, all right, perfect. So I'm a big fan of staging sites are great, but I'm also a fan of if you know you're going to play with it for any length of time. I'm a big fan of just burning off a URL and having something as a toy to play with on the side. And that might sound a little overkill for some people, but it really has worked out for me. I really like doing that. I didn't read this first. I'm just going to take it, slap it in here. And from Joe, Joe put a question in. And I'll just put it on the StreamYard one. And I think this is one that you can answer here, Emily, because it's a PWA app. You've done this recently, right?
Yeah. I always get suspicious when people ask about that, but I'm open.
Yeah, so easy steps. Easy steps. How to make my learning site a PWA app. I have understood that it is not too difficult. I am in a different time zone, most likely would like to watch better today. What you want to do is you want to do a quick search for a SaaS product that I think is a lifetime deal for $19.95, and it will convert any WordPress website into a mobile app.
Yeah.
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 There's me being snarky again. I've tried those. Newsflash, they don't work.
They don't work.
They don't work.
Not for Lifter. You can turn a WordPress website into an app, but Lifter LMS has specific requirements. E-commerce websites have specific requirements, and you got to keep that in mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I struggle with the question because when people say, "Oh, it's I heard that it's easy," we hear a lot of things, but for some reason, when we talk about converting like a deep Lifter LMS, e-learning, e-commerce, WooCommerce driven website into a mobile app, it turns into $25,000 or $30,000 worth of easy pretty quickly. And I have yet to work with a real successful example. I've seen some working examples. So now I'm going to reclassify that. If you have Buddy Boss and Lifter LMS, you can use their product to do a mobile app. However, they themselves say that they don't really support Lifter in that mindset. They use a different LMS. But we have customers that have used Lifter LMS with Buddy Boss and done the mobile app and have had successful use with it. And they're not extremely cheap either. If I remember correctly, it's something like $250 or $300 a month plus a development fee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had multiple clients who we've been building apps for, and one of them has rebuilt the app like 4 times. And it's like we built the site with Lifter. We switched to LearnDash because it was what Buddy Boss had recommended for their application support. But then the shareholders weren't okay with the fact that there is the latency with the loading because there's no offline capabilities. A lot of times when we talk about progressive web apps, we need service workers, we need offline functionality. But the WordPress is fundamentally working off of a database, and it becomes a little more complicated. And so you have to functionally rebuild it, the WordPress functionality and the views and the experience in something that has the capabilities of like storing your data. Like if I'm a student and I take some lessons, it needs to store my grades, it needs to store what lessons I completed and communicate it back to the server when connection is reestablished, but maintain the user experience as though that app is actually what they're learning on. So it's like, oh, I completed lesson 2 and lesson 3 is a prerequisite. You have to complete lesson 2 before moving to lesson 3, but we're not actually going to contact the database to verify. We're going to give you the web experience and pass the data over later. When it comes to these kinds of interactions, that's where it becomes really complicated and you end up getting into $10, $20, $30,000 fees to just rebuild your WordPress website as an app. And that's a basic WordPress website. That's like just Lifter. That's like just LearnDash. So not trying to scare you off, but you should just be cognizant that if you are going to use something like the Buddy Boss development portal and you are going to go with something like LearnDash, you are going to experience the same latencies you would as if it's just a website. And that's just, if that works for you, that's something to be aware of. I've just seen so many people come across the finish line and be like, this doesn't feel quite like an app. It just feels like my website on a phone, and functionally that is what it is. And so my recommendation for people who need an app integrated as a part of their product offering is to build an app separate of WordPress, or take a basic WordPress website and turn it into an app. You can have students come to your WordPress side, come to their browser on their phone to access your website and access your courses and memberships, whatever content you have in the browser, but have an app to guide the experience of where they're going to navigate your business. So if they're going to start a course, start a lesson, interact with your PDFs, interact with your courses, you can guide the user experience with an app, and it will be significantly cheaper. You don't have to turn the entire LMS into an app, because that's a big undertaking. Just beware.
Shazam. That was like a more complete answer than they probably bargained for.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, I mean, but it's totally legit, because we hear it at least once every 6 months. Someone's like, oh, I heard making an app was easy. And it's like, thank you, Mr. AI. Because it's, ChatGPT will always tell you you're a genius and how easy something is until you try to do it. And then you're like, this is really involved. I should have got Kajabi. But don't get sucked in by the this is easy talk, because most of it is not easy. It's kind of like the first time I experimented with Udemy. Everyone said, oh, you should use Udemy. It's so easy. It's free. And then it took forever to get my course published. That was a disaster. And then the spam, oh my goodness, the spam that comes out of that community was crazy. The spam was worse than the learning curve to use the program. It was really difficult. So pick something that makes sense for you. Pick something where there's decent support. Pick something, where you can have reasonable expectations for what you're getting. Remember that with WordPress, there's incredible flexibility and you can build almost whatever you want. But with each level of flexibility or functionality comes another piece of the learning curve that you have to either become comfortable with or hire someone to help you with. Mm-hmm. From Joe. Hi, Kurt. Hi, Emily. Hey, hope you're well. I need to make some words, not all the words, some of the words, in some lesson titles, italic. This is to make it grammatically, scientifically correct for the subject I'm teaching, so it's kind of important. Wink, wink, say no more, say no more. I've tried doing this with inline CSS, and it shows as italic in the course builder, but when I view the lesson, it's not italic. It's like the inline CSS is being overwritten. Any ideas how I can solve this? I'm using SkyPilot. Thanks, Emily, for the idea of ditching Elementor. I am now using Gutenberg, and it's pretty awesome and hopefully faster load times. Thanks both. First off, giant shout out to Joe just for checking in and kind words. It goes a million miles. You would have no idea. When we get positive feedback like that, it brightens our days, because you have to admit, some people would look at what we do every week and go, why do they do this every week? That's why we do this every week, because people really seem to appreciate it. This to me is a unique situation, because remember, when you're working in the course builder, you're working with content that will be dynamic, and then that dynamic content gets injected or embedded into those spaces within your website that are typically overwritten by your theme or things like that. Emily, what are your thoughts? because this
Yeah.
is SkyPilot specific. So I'm wondering if we have, I wonder if we have any insider information that I don't know about that you do that helps with this.
Joe, your experience is right that it's going to sanitize the inline CSS that you try to put in the title of your lessons. So my recommendation is to consider getting fancy. Consider using the AI to code. That's crazy. I'm going to recommend that you use the AI to code this. But here's my recommendation, because this is not something that is going to be super complicated. So if you see this, um, my approach, at least just thinking about this for 30 seconds now, would be that JavaScript can change elements of a page after it's loaded. And so the AI is very good at doing things with JavaScript. When you're messing with like how data is stored, like how people's data is stored, how it's transferred from one place to the other, you can inject malware, you can cause all kinds of problems, you can break things, conflicts, etc. But when you're dealing with a simple piece of JavaScript that's asked to modify lesson pages after it loads, such as the JavaScript is saying, when a lesson page loads, if the title class contains certain words, whatever words are supposed to be in italics, convert those to the italic formatting. And so that would be a way to non-invasively solve your problem. And the AI can help you. You just have to give it a list of words it's supposed to change to italics. You could even specify the IDs. Well, you can't actually, never mind. What I was about to say is that you can select the ID of the post with JavaScript, but you need PHP for that. Since you're already using inline CSS, you know how to identify classes of objects like the lesson title. Tell the JavaScript that the lesson title, if it contains these words, needs to turn only those words into italics. That's what I would do.
Yeah, what Emily said.
What Emily said. It's
Slash
like
slash important exclamation point.
slash important exclamation point.
Yeah. The slash important exclamation point. That's one that catches me off guard sometimes, because I make a change and then I go to the front end and it's not there and I get ticked. And then I go, oh, maybe I should make that important. And then
Yeah.
it goes bing.
Oftentimes you usually don't want to use the important thing, because if you're going to basically override everything else and the importance are going to start to like stack on top of each other.
Yeah.
But if someone in a plugin or a theme has CSS that qualifies an element more than you qualified it, they're going to win as far as their CSS getting applied to that element. So you can use the important tool in order to be like, I don't care who qualified it better than me. I want this CSS rule to apply.
It's like the meme of the 5 Spider-Mans pointing at each other.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Hi, kitty, kitty. Now, is that your cat?
No.
Because you're on the road, right?
I'm at my partner's house. This is Willow.
Okay.
Willow jumped down. I can't show Willow anymore.
Okay.
It's okay.
Remy came in the room to say hi, and then Remy just took off and left. Remy's getting rather proud of himself.
Okay. Remy's getting proud of himself.
Yeah, he's like, I make up my own decisions. I go where I want now. I don't have to hang out with you. You're boring.
Remy, I've seen Remy grow up with you. It's awesome.
If you see Remy now, you're going to see shaved Remy. We let him grow too much over the cold months, and we didn't realize that his undercoat had started to mat up so badly. Like, because he looked great, and we could like kind of run a brush through the top coat. Everything seemed fine, and then we would like notice he was getting really matted. So we ended up breaking out the clippers, man, shaving him down. So, but what's weird, when Heidi first started shaving him, he looked like a homeless coyote. Like it didn't look good. I mean, it was ragtag. And I said, this ain't gonna work. We got to shave the rest of them. You can't just shave the bad parts. Like we got to shave the whole dog. And so we shaved them all down, and then he ended up looking pretty good. And we actually like him short now. So I used to really like him super, super fuzzy because I thought he looked playful like Tigger. But now I shaved him down, and I like him shaved down too. I still left his face kind of scruffy. So
nice.
I don't know. It's neat when you so we don't pay a groomer. There's no way I'm paying someone $100 to cut my dog's hair. Like, not going to do it. I don't pay anyone to cut my hair. Why would I pay someone to cut the dog's hair? So we bought the clippers and we do it ourselves, which is nice because now we get the freedom to kind of play and do what we want. I tried to give him a mohawk once. It didn't work out very well.
It didn't well, yeah, with the curly hair.
Heidi was not pleased.
It wasn't a problem with the technicality. It's just Heidi was not pleased.
She came home from work and she was like, "What did you do to the dog?" But then once she shaved his butt and he was running around like a baboon with a red butt, I was like, that ain't right. That ain't right. So, all right. We have another question. Believe it or not, we have another question. Victor sent in a question saying, I have some experience using Beaver Builder, and the plan is to create landing pages in Beaver Builder and then use SkyPilot, and intend to use Beaver Builder to change parts of the design of the course via Lifter LMS. How do I keep the landing page in Beaver Builder and continue building with SkyPilot and Lifter LMS? What other plugins do you recommend for security, speed, and community? Unfortunately, I will not be able to attend the meeting today, but I hope you have the opportunity to respond anyway. And then it says, thank you for your support. Best regards, Victor. I've seen Victor on our Facebook page. And so this is a good segue to mention that we have a very active Facebook page, and you're welcome to come in there, ask questions, talk about your experience using Lifter, all that stuff, right? It's a community page. So that works out good. A lot of people come in that way, and that's how I've met Victor before. Victor, I am going to be, Bobby's a really nice guy. Emily knows Bobby. They've exchanged shirts before. But hey, outside of the Beaver Builder, personal experience that we have with them and how much I love the team there, if I'm using SkyPilot, I don't think I need Beaver Builder at all. I mean, am I taking too far of a leap there, Emily? But I can't see what the benefit is of adding a page builder to the full site editing experience, because I can build landing page templates in full site editing. Because I think for me, a landing page is like, it's a web page, doesn't have a header or a footer, and it's got a call to action in it. Like, that's kind of like my definition of a landing page. Everyone's got like these weird ideas about what landing pages are now. But if you build a landing page in Elementor, it's basically a page without a header or a footer, and it has a call to action in it. If I build a landing page with WP funnels, it's a page with content without a header, without a footer, with a call to action in it. And so could I build that in full site editing using like add a template without a header or a footer, and then put content in it? Like, done. I don't think I need Beaver Builder to manage that for me.
This is a good question. Robbie is super cool, and so I support you using Beaver Builder.
It's hard when we have friends, right? Because these are friends. They have a great product.
They have a great product. I think Beaver Builder is what I started when I was using WordPress. After using like the Headway theme and the old way of building things, I transitioned to Beaver Builder. And if you are comfortable building your landing pages in Beaver Builder, that's awesome. I think that it may truly be worth it for you to like install SkyPilot, have your Lifter pages be basic, and then use Beaver Builder to build awesome landing pages. I think it's true that there is a learning curve when it comes to SkyPilot, and if you already know Beaver Builder, you can probably make some killer landing pages. My recommendation is probably to avoid the themer for your SkyPilot website, because the Beaver themer, works with your headers and footers. It kind of takes them over. And SkyPilot, being a full site editing theme, really wants you to use the blocks for your headers and footers. So if you can, I would consider using your blocks for your headers and footers, but you can use SkyPilot to build a template that's content only and use that for your Beaver Builder pages. You can build your Beaver Builder pages top to bottom. I'm not opposed. I think you could do the same thing with Elementor or any other page builder. But because Robbie McCullough is such a cool one, is such a real one, I will give him all my shirts and all my recommendations, because I know it sounds kind of weird, but when you have like a founder led company, when the company hasn't been sold and acquired a million times, I really have faith in it. It's like Lifter. It's like Lifter is still founder owned after like a decade, and Beaver Builder is in the same boat. And when the founders are here to stay and it's like a lifestyle brand, I'm cool putting my faith behind it, because as things change, they're still going to be building their product. That's my take.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. And I think about the projects I've worked on, fairly large ones that were Beaver Builder. Like Lifter LMS used to be built on Beaver Builder. WP Tonic was built on Beaver Builder. Like there's a ton of great products on Beaver Builder. So I'm not disparaging Beaver Builder. I'm just looking at it like if I have full site editing and I'm in the newest, editing environment for WordPress, and I can really freeform a lot of stuff with that builder out of the box. Do I need to add the difficulty of layering that stuff on top? But then, like you pointed out, I could use Beaver Builder for certain pages and still just run the regular SkyPilot for the other stuff.
Yeah, and you don't need Beaver Builder as much as you did 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Or any page builder. It's not just Beaver Builder. It's just any page builder. You don't need any page builder the way you did 5 years ago when all you had was the WYSIWYG editor, your tiny MCE, type your text, type your HTML. Nowadays, WordPress provides you blocks, but if it's something if it's something you're comfortable with, and if it's a product that you have faith in, like I have faith in it, then go for it. Build it your way.
Yeah. Your answer was much more diplomatic than mine.
I will never betray Robbie.
Yeah, Robbie's solid. Robbie's super solid. We had a follow-up with Will talking about these apps. It says, following on from the question about the PWA app, does Lifter LMS work with mobile anyway? And I understand the want for an app, but do we need one? You don't need an app. Okay, so is it mobile responsive? Yes. Lifter's mobile responsive. Most themes are mobile responsive. And in fact, so if I'm editing in Cadence, if I'm editing in Astra, if I'm editing in Elementor, if I'm editing in Etch, if I'm editing in Bricks, I can say, okay, show me a preview of what this looks like on a tablet, and I can edit that. Show me what this looks like on a mobile phone, and I can edit that. And the reason I talk about editing those things separately, even though they're mobile responsive, is a lot of times you build in the desktop area and you're building and you're going, okay, this is how I want this to look. And here's a classic one that e-learning people do that messes up on mobile. So let's say I'm using where it's like a third and 2/3, right? And then you go a third and 2/3, and then it's a third and 2/3, and then it's a third and 2/3, right? You're stacking that and you're alternating by design, like heading and picture, and then heading and picture, and then heading and picture, and then heading and picture. And you put it into the page. And on desktop, it's exactly what you want, right? It's like this zigzag waterfall of design that you want to have. And then you look at it on your phone and you go, oh my God, that's horrible. Because on the phone, it stacks like heading, heading, picture, picture, heading, heading, picture, picture. And it looks like it's out of order and funky, right? So if you go in to wherever you're designing. In fact, there's a guy in South America that designs all of his websites on a mobile phone. I don't know why he does that. It's just a weird thing. I met him. I think he's crazy. Anyway, you go in and you can click and say preview as mobile, and then you can edit those features in mobile, right? So then you can say, this is the way it shows up in the breakpoint for mobile, and this is the way it shows up for the breakpoint on desktop. So that's one thing to address right there. The other thing to address that's like part of the question that I feel like you're asking is, let me go to, here's a great example. No, turn it this way. Okay, see it? See the icon that's right there?
Yeah.
It looks like an app on my phone, but if I click it, it's going to open up my browser and it's going to go to a Lifter LMS powered community website. That is not the most highly styled, but it's for Hutchinson. And then this is the page that we have, right? And so it acts like an app because when you save any website to any mobile phone, when you save it to the, what do they call that? To the wallpaper, save it as an icon, whatever, it uses the logo from the website. It creates an icon. It adds it to all of the apps listing on your phone. That is a sample that I have that I show to customers. But let me pull up. Here's a better one. So here's a list of, here's a screenshot of a screenshot. Here is the screen on my phone. And this one in this top corner goes to Mañana No Mas, right? So it looks like an app, but it's really just an icon link to the actual mobile website. So you can do that. You can show your users, you can make a quick 45-second tutorial that says, add our website to your homepage, and then click here on your phone, click this, click that, add to homepage, done. And then they click add to homepage, and it just creates the icon and makes it look like an app on their phone. And when they click on that icon, it opens up the mobile browser and shows the mobile responsive version of your website. And it works just like an app, except it doesn't have push notifications, which a lot of people just are convinced that they need push notifications for their business. And a lot of people that ask me for a mobile app because they want push notifications don't have any paying customers yet. And that to me is like a huge flaw in the thinking. Like, I wouldn't think about needing push notifications for an audience that was paying to be in my website until I had like at least 250 paying people in my website. Because I think I need the revenue and the proof of concept before I make the investment in a full-blown app.
This is such a good point. Such a good point. You don't want to get in over your head and be like, hey, we're gonna mortgage our house or use our savings to build an application that people will want. Because WordPress is so easy to build on, you can proof of concept so easily. Like, don't risk anything, just proof of concept the entire time. It's so easy nowadays to build a business, build an online course, membership, software product, whatever it is, purely on pre-sales, purely on proof of concepts, like minimum viable products. You don't have to build the whole deal right up front. And oftentimes it's not good to do that.
Yeah, it's so weird because people come to me as an agency owner with unbelievable dreams and expectations and excitement. And I get it because I've been there. I've built these things. I built giant monolith websites that didn't generate any traffic. I've also built websites very scant on functionality that have driven success. They've succeeded. And as they begin to get some traction and they begin to succeed, well, then you say, hey, let's hear from you folks. What functions would you like to have in this website? What would make you really engage with this website more? And sometimes they go, oh, a community tool. And you go, okay, great. And then 6 months later, you can unveil a community tool to an audience that asked for a community tool, as opposed to creating a community tool before there's an audience and then struggling to get the first 2 or 5 or 10 people to actually use it. Because I find that creating stuff without an audience has a very difficult adoption path.
Definitely.
Okay. I got that off my chest. I feel better.
And also, I know a lot of people who take that route, they believe in their vision, and that's why they're doing it. And we believe in your vision just as much as you do. We believe that anyone here, anyone building an online course site, anyone going as far into the conversation as we are to do what we're doing in the world, has something valuable to teach and something valuable to contribute. And so the fact that you're using proof of concepts, the fact that you're asking people to get involved, and the fact that you're open to failing by launching a product and maybe no one shows up, and then launching another product, doesn't speak to your vision not being good, because that vision and intuition is really powerful. It's just that we need to find that product market fit.
Brought it home. Man, that almost feels like the perfect place to wrap up, unless this comment here is, nope, that's not a great. Okay, so this is a great place to wrap it up. Folks, we went through some announcements at the very beginning. I need to do my due diligence and go through those again. Been great having you. Love your comments in the chat. Thanks for bringing those with you. Get your 55% off coupon. If you're interested in sampling a paid item with LifterLMS and you want a discount, go to lifterlms.com/AMA-gift, lifterlms.com/AMA-gift. But remember, the core plugin from Lifter LMS is free in the repository and is super, super powerful. You can build your whole course out before you sign up and pay for any premium add-ons or anything like that. So that's one thing to consider. If you want to try some of the things that are paid add-ons, the best way to do that is to go to lifterlms.com/try, lifterlms.com/try. It costs you $1, but we give you 30 days of a hosted website that's fully populated with all of the add-ons and extensions. And so you get to see something work as if it's going to work when you build your product. So it has sample students, sample courses, sample memberships, sample groups, sample discussion areas. It has all that stuff. So you don't really have to question what your website's going to do when you build it out, because you've already experienced it when something is built in it. So I think that is one of the strongest things that we offer, is that lifterlms.com/try. And again, we host it for you, so you don't have to bother figuring that out yourself. Last but not least, I'm going to change the ticker at the bottom. And I think I'm going to change, there we go. lifterlms.com/experts. We have a full listing of experts that work with lifterlms.com. I am in there under Mañana No Mas. Emily is in there under WP Course Guide. And then there's just a whole listing of other people. If you want help, guidance, coaching, or just want someone to build it for you, I really encourage you to go to lifterlms.com/experts and see if you can't find someone on that list that matches the budget to your needs. Let's see. I think we're done. Always awesome having you. Always great. You've been coming to us pretty regular now for like more than a year. It's been a long time. Glad to have you and Gary here. Will says, thank you both. That's awesome. Folks, we're going to wrap this one up. Emily, wave at everybody.